Welcome to Telford Ultimate Guide, and we are on another quest, and the quest today is about Bridle Ways. Behind me is the Rough Park Riding School, or formerly known as the Rough Park Riding School, and we're on Woodside in Telford. Now this riding school connected a whole load of different bridle ways to Telford, and some of them are long forgotten about. Now today's task is about finding those bridle ways and seeing if they still exist. So it's great to see that Rough Park House is still here. I know over the years it's suffered from vandalism, it's been burnt out, but this really was the home of the riding school. And what's really nice to know is if I turn around, you can actually just see now there's actually still horses in the field grazing right next to where the riding school was. And why it was so important here for the riding school was because it's just down there. You can see the footpath that links onto Rough Park Way and onto the main bridle way of Telford. So we are going to go and explore that bridle way and take a look. So as we reach the bottom of the hill, we've got two directions we can go. We've got this way, which takes you over towards Culverts, and you've got this way, which takes you over towards Aqueduct and onto Brookside. Now this is obviously the main route of the bridle way, and this is still quite used by a lot of horse riders even now. Well, we are going to follow the bridle way into North Telford now, and this way is where it's going to take us. So we're at the bottom of Woodside now. So this is the original long distance bridle path, which sort of takes you up towards Randley. So why build bridle ways? Well, a lot of the bridle ways, you'll be surprised to know, run along service strips, which are large swathes of land that will contain the gas mains, the water mains, sewers, storm drains, etc. And you can't really build across the top of those because they need service strips. And this is what they did. So they make absolutely ideal footpaths, and the footpath we're walking along at the moment is for Rough Park Way, and that is one of them, which runs, pretty much runs to Madeley Court. So it made great. You just imagine you'd be able to hire a horse and go pony trekking all the way up this bridle way. How cool would that be? Just coming out of Woodside now on the Rough Park Way, and just at the side of me here is this grassed area. Now this used to be an amazing sort of adventure playground, and there used to be a wooden pirate ship, the biggest slide in Telford without a doubt. But you know what's more startling about this is if you look down, you can actually see the horse's prints. So it's still used as a bridle way even now. So let's see how accessible the rest of the bridle way is. One common theme of the bridle ways is that they actually followed the railway line, which runs all the way up to Stafford Park. Unfortunately now it's disused. So as I said, a lot of the bridle ways are used for services, and this is evident here with this manhole cover here, as you can see. You can see that one there, that's one of the main drains that run through here. That would be one of the main storm drains that go into Madeley Court. So now we're at a turning point in the pathway. If you went straight on, that would take you pretty much to Madeley Court. This bridge will be one of many bridges we go in and out of this type on the railway line. These are beautifully dressed stone. If you look at them, they're very nice quality. A sort of standard on the brickwork really, so you can actually see that you've got a mixture of brickwork and stonework, and that's pretty much the theme all the way through these bridges that we will go past. So if you head up that way, that will take you to Aqueduct, and there's the Eastern Primary. You can already see from the floor there that the horses have been going up there. So this is where the bridle way turns off and then runs up here. And this is a large service strip, so there's lots of gas mains, etc. running through this area. So here is the point where the railway used to cross. So it pretty much ran straight as an arrow all the way to Coalport, and it ended up on the other side, and that joined onto the main line via Sturchley and Hollinswood. So as we come over, let's just take a look. This bridge is quite unique really, because it isn't actually a bridge. The actual bridge has actually been almost chopped through the middle and it's missing. So I've actually never ever seen what that bridge looks like, but you can see part of the abutments there of the bridge. No one ever seen it, see what it was, but that railway line below it, so that was actually where a railway crossed a railway. To the left of me is the Eastern Primary. I'm sure you can hear that rumbling along to the left, and to the right of me is the railway line, the former power station line. But as I say, looking at this here, you can see these power cables running right the way through, and that's not just only power cables here. We have water mains and gas mains running right through this section here, and that's really why it's so important to have these areas available, so you're able to access the pipes, etc. anytime you wish. So we're actually coming on now to the Silken Way. This is where it crosses, or the Silken Way diversion. If it was actually built along the railway, it would be a very different story. So we're going to cross this, cross the Silken Way over to the other side of the road. And as you can see there, you've got the Silken Way heading off down that way. And originally the railway station would have been just at the bottom. So we're going to carry on. This is where the Bridle Way runs. What I find quite extraordinary about this section of the Bridle Way is these gigantic poplars here. Look at them, the size of them. There really is some spectacular things to look at on this route. So now we've come to the Bridge North Road here, and obviously down that way takes you to Cookerway. You can see the railway bridge, and here you've got the bridge to Brookside. Now this is one of the last phases of the EP to be built here, and this big concrete big deck bridge here is part of the Queensway. So our Bridle Way now sort of changes direction now. So what it does is it comes up here now, we just go under the bridge, and then we cross straight over. We cross straight over now and head up the bank there. You can see here that many Brookside houses probably have really nice patios here, judging from all of this that's been removed. But anyway, we're going to head up now to the other part of the Bridle Way. So here we got a nice wide gate here, and that's going to take us into this section of the Bridle Way. A big part of this section of the Bridle Way was built actually on a noise barrier which in theory is just to stop the noise of the Eastern Primary affecting the residents of Brookside. So this was piled up from excavating the Eastern Primary and planted out with lots of trees, etc. But now it makes a great spot for the bridle way to run through. You can start to see Brookside come into view now on this low point here, and that area of Brookside is Bishopdale. So this path at the moment is a little bit up and down, to be fair, but lots of lovely species of trees along here. It's really nice little walk. You can see one of those mighty evergreens have fell there. So to the right of me now, you'll start to see the curvature of Brockton Interchange, and the pathway actually follows it quite tight right the way round it. So now this is the tightest bit of the route now, because over that side we've got Brockton Interchange, and over this side we have the Eastern Primary. So this is where the path gets quite close to both locations. We're now coming through this section now, and we're kind of leaving Brookside and going into Hohem I. Now you can see this little avenue of trees that's been planted here, which looks really nice. I'm sure they look great in the summer, but you can see the loop on there, on Brockton Loop there. So we're now heading now into Hohem I now. Now, previously, when this was a bridle way, this would have just been a field here, or a dead end, and a lot of the site offices for building the housing estate Brookside were all situated to the left there. So we're carrying on the bridle way now. We've got a marker there. Look, see it? We've just got a marker there. So we're going to carry on down. So this is where the bridle way now leaves and follows Brockton Interchange around and then goes off. So we're actually technically in Hohem I now. We're kind of halfway through the journey now. So we're now in Hohem I. So if you think about what we've passed through Brookside, we passed through parts of Aqueduct, then Madeley Court, and then Woodside. So it's quite a lengthy bridle way really, and it's still going on. So now we're leaving the Brockton Interchange and we are now heading along the Eastern Primary now. So this is the upper section, and this will bring us actually almost down to Hohem I. Just coming up to Hohem I, which is just over the back there. So the bridle way goes a slightly different direction now. So as I come down these steps here, you'll be able to see what I mean. So now we're leaving Hohem I and we're going into the realms of Halesfield. So over there is the lake, and through here is the long distance footpath which takes you into Halesfield. So we're going to go through this grotty underpass here. So the bridle path now takes a very, very different way now, and the big service strip I was on about that we were running, we're actually going to run through it in a minute where it actually crosses the path here, but we're just going on the other side because the bridleway was then diverted and then it comes underneath the bridge and then we take a left turn. So as we come under the bridge, we come into the Halesfield floodplain area. So we've got a choice of footpaths here. If you carry on straight, that will take you right into the heart of Halesfield and you can connect up with Sutton Hill and Hills Lane. But we're going to go off left here because this is where the bridleway takes us. And we're back on following the railway now. Now this is quite a rough old track this is, but this is only accessible if there isn't a flood, and that very rarely happens. Now this part of the bridleway is a little bit neglected, as you're going to see. So these are some of our first signs here. So you can see it says on the sign there, you've got bridleway, Halesfield. I think the signs have been slightly changed around, but we're actually going to come up here because this is actually where our bridleway officially is supposed to take us. And as I said, as we go on, you'll see that this particular part of the bridleway does get a little bit rough underfoot. A little bit about the area that we're walking through. It is actually called Halesfield Flood Storage Area. Now it's an overflow from Hohem I, so I've seen it maybe a couple of times overflow. You can see here, this is the bottom end of the dam, as you can see, and this is where the overflow water comes and then goes into the flood storage area, which is over that side of Halesfield. Now the actual area is slightly sloped in all directions to hold the maximum amount of water, and trust me, when that does happen, it is actually almost like a lake in there. Well, we continue along the bridleway. This path now is barely passable with fallen trees, etc. And I think it's largely neglected, and I don't really think it's perhaps used as a bridleway anymore. But it's a really good footpath, to say the least. The next bridge. This bridge was actually an access track to Hohem Farm, which has roughly been built where Hohem Lake is now. So this is roughly the direction that the bridle path goes in now. So let's carry on following. Section is pretty ropey and pretty muddy to be fair. So where does the bridleway go now? Well, through that gap there. That doesn't look like a bridleway, granted, but actually it is the original bridleway route which we're going to follow. So this in the summer was barely passable, so hopefully we're going to have a little bit more luck this time on this part of the route. I think it's fair to say there have been no horses down here for a fair old while. Here, the bridleway itself is absolutely sodden, isn't it? Barely even passable, but we know it's here. We know it's here because this tree here has grown over it. So let's try and negotiate that if we can. But you can see how much the water is almost turning this sort of area into a pond. This is quite difficult to navigate. Excuse the camera. Yes, I'm through. Well, you can see that's not been done anything with for a long time. But apart from that hanging over bush, we are still en route. Yeah, this is the original Bridle Way. Now, there's a slight change in ground level here now, and there's a very good reason for that, because what used to be here is, passing through this hollow, was the road that ran from Shifnal to Sturchley, and it ran through right through the centre of here. The bridge has obviously since then been filled in, but it's down there in that hollow, and quite well documented, and you can find out a little bit more about that road on my Roads and Transport Part 2 film. From here, just exactly what's happened to the path. It's barely even here, but it shows how much water we've had, and well, this thick clay that the ground just isn't draining. So we'll try and negotiate our way across that. Absolutely no problem at all. But you can see there's all sorts of little kind of areas with water stored here. But this is truly a coppice that's kind of, I would probably say, got out of hand really. You can see here how low these bushes are. I mean, what is great is there is still pretty much a footpath here to at least indicate there was something here originally. As you can see, we are coming very close to the railway line now, and pretty much level with it. So it shows that the ground area we're walking through has risen slightly over time. So let's it's a little bit low on the old headroom here, but we're trekking on. See here now, we've come to the end of the Bridle Way on this section. You can see this fence has been purposely sort of built around it like that. So I think what we need to do now is to go up the embankment. So we've got the railway there and the embankment here, but over there I think there was another access put in just up off the bank there. So this is the alternative entrance here. I really don't think it's suitable for horses, but anyway, let's go up and take a look. Okie dokie, so where are we? We're actually at the top of Brockton Interchange. So the Bridle Way basically runs along here now. It appears to be a lot shallower. So even though that part of the Bridle Way, that small part of the Bridle Way isn't passable, I would imagine they would have come up the shallower section. What we'd have expected to do then is to walk across here. Yes, horses crossing road, yes. Over to the other side. So we've actually picked up another Bridle Way sign now, and this is the other part of it. So it crosses the road and then it heads down this way. So it's saying it's a public footpath and also a Bridle Way, as you can see. So let's head down and have a look. So we're back on the Bridle Way again now. Again, it's the same as the other path. You wouldn't want to bring a horse down here. It is pretty ropey, to say the least. And you can start to see now where we've got the railway over to the left. And again, we've got the gas main here, all the services, etc., running along this section. And these coppices, these self-seeded coppices, and these are all hawthorns, so it's almost like they've tried to create a hawthorn hedge along here. Bearings. So to my left is the Eastern Primary running on the embankment at the top there, hence why it's so noisy. To my right is the railway line to the power station. Obviously, as I've said before, it's disused. The direction we're heading is towards Nedge Hill. You'll notice about the way the trees are planted. As you can see, there's an equal distance sort of between them, which indicates that it's actually been built as a bridle way. It's actually quite nice, this section, isn't it? It's almost like a very nice woodland walk, a bit muddy, but you can see it's actually got grass on the ground. It's actually very nice indeed. So we're running at the side of the railway, as I've said, and we shouldn't be too long before we hit the lane at Nedge Hill. Now we've hit the lane that runs between Sturchley and Nedge Hill, and you can see there the railway line bridge there. In this direction you can see the Eastern Primary there and the road just up to Sturchley. So where does the bridle way run from here? The original bridle way used to run up towards Stafford Park, but there is a new bridle way that runs just underneath the bridge there, up to Nedge Hill and around the Nedge Hill. That's kind of like the new route of the bridle way, but we're not here to track the new route, we're actually going to track the old route. So the original route of the bridle way came underneath this bridge here and took a right. Now you can see the Boscobel Tavern coming into shot now, and also the houses of Sturchley. So the original bridle way went off on a right turn here. It actually started a little bit premature than that, so you can just about see that sort of bank up there, but the new kind of path that's been routed out is just here. So this means we're going into the area of Randeley Valley. As you can hear, we're right next to the Eastern Primary now. You can actually hear the noise from it right now. So, Randeley Valley, what do we know about it? Well, it's actually managed now by the Friends of Randeley Valley, a dedicated conservation group who are looking after this area, the trees, making new paths, etc. Doing a sterling job, and we'll see some of their work a little bit further on. Randeley Valley is not just known for nice walks and it being a bridle way, it actually has an important job to do, and these two manhole covers here tell the story. That one there is a foul water drain, this one here is a surface water drain. Underneath here is a box culvert that runs from Stafford Park and that runs into Hohem I, and that carries a lot of the storm water off the Eastern Primary, Stafford Park and parts of Hollinswood. This one here is the Randeley and Hollinswood foul water sewer, so if you flush your toilet, that's where it's most likely to come. But you can see that these almost run next to each other. So we'll track these as we go up the valley. One thing you can notice about the Ranelagh Valley footpaths are they are really, really well used. You can see the horses have been along here churning up the path already. But if you actually notice, you can see a little bit of a hump there where the sewer runs. You can just see it in the bushes there. And that's probably why nobody's really allowed to, nobody's actually built on this area. But you can see it's a well-defined footpath. And one thing I have noticed is that from when I was a child coming up here, how much these trees have grown. I know it's been a few years, but you can see how much these saplings that have been planted have just taken over. So now you can see again, we've got those two manhole covers there, almost next to each other. The surface and foul sewer is the other one, looks like it's been covered over a little bit with bracken, but it shows we're still on this pathway now, and the culvert's underneath. So let me tell you a little bit about that culvert. Well, that culvert is around about I would say about 9 foot sort of square in sections. So underneath here it's quite shallow, so they wouldn't have had to drill it out or anything like that. Well, you can see here lots of trees down on the Ranelagh Valley. See there, a little brook there, just only tiny little watercourse, and that takes you right the way across to Nedge Hill. So we're now coming out of the clearing in the woods and we hit back on Stafford Park Way. So the road up that way would lead you up to Stafford Park. Looking this way, guys, this will take you up to Ranelagh. So you've got your first board here, which is your first information board here for Ranelagh Valley. Just telling you a little bit about it, from bricks to butterflies, about the brickworks, etc. But contrary to that, the brickworks never actually were in only one small part of Ranelagh Valley. But I'm coming across here because this sort of area here is a continuation of the Bridle Way. So you can see there the water running in. You can see there the water running into the culvert down there. Look, you can see it, and that's off. That will be making its way to Nedge Hill. So we're walking through the next little section now. Now I know for a fact, again, we've got the sewers are still running underneath. I'm talking the big foul sewers and trunk sewers. So if you just nip through the woods here, there is one of the main trunk sewer lids there. You can see two of them, foul and surface again. Now obviously what's happening now is this culvert is beginning to get deeper and deeper underground. So let's carry on following the route. So remember, we're not actually on the Bridle Way, although you can see it's been used as a bridle way. So we'll just continue on along it. But what I do know is that the culverts take a sharp turn to the right and head off over towards Stafford Park. But we're just going to carry on following the valley. Here, nice little clearing here in the grass. A couple of little benches been built and a few logs and stuff. Quite a nice little spot. But as we carry on, and what's nice about this part of the path is you can see that it's a grassed sort of area. which is really nice. It's continuing. It actually is a very, very nice path to walk. But you can kind of see there's kind of like a bit of a wilderness sort of feel about this. Look, you can see. You can see there are a lot of areas that are quite waterlogged, as you can see. But that's due to really this sort of Ranelagh Valley being on a sloping site. There's trees absolutely everywhere. I honestly don't want to criticise, but I know these guys do this work once a month, but this is a big job here. You can see they've done a lot here with the chainsaw, etc. But wow, I think a few more volunteers wouldn't go amiss, and I'm sure they'll agree with that. So as we come around this corner, you can now see the underpass into Hollingswood over Queen Elizabeth Way. So to access the Ranelagh Valley, I think all you'd need to do is come down those steps there, and that will take you to the car park. And obviously here's one of the signs, the Welcome to the Ranelagh Valley signs. Look, as you can see. So it shows you really where we've kind of been really. So we kind of started down here. We've walked the red route all the way around. You can see all the way around, and then we're kind of just coming onto this here. So we're just here at this point here where it just said we're here. So we're going to continue up this path here. Okay, back up to the subway there. Okay, but you can see they put a lot of work in, a lot of effort to lots of footpaths here. I mean, these ones here are the tarmac paths there, so, and the green paths are, obviously it says there really, public footpath, tracks and old part rail and old railway lines, etc. So we're going to take a look. So our next destination is going into this pit mound here. See here, this is the brook that's been running through the valley all of this way. They've been doing a lot of work to try and clear this brook out, but as you can see, it's still a lot of contamination in that in terms of the colour. So they've been building little dams and things like that to try and encourage the water to flow and to filter better, I should imagine. So here on this part of Ranelagh Valley, you can see that pathway there, lots of new pathways have been built in there, and we're also on the Telford 50 way as well. We have finally come to the end of the journey. As you can see, this bridle way runs quite a long way. Eventually, it will lead you into the Telford Town Park at the Ranelagh Pool end. I hope you've enjoyed the journey with Telford Ultimate Guide.